Welcome to the podcast. Podcast of Players, that's the name. I'm Cool Boy Shane, and with me today, I have a very, very, very cool boy himself. This is a guy that animated his Spellbound Twitch streamed campaign, and the first video got viral, like 42,000 hits. Welcome, everybody. Captain Cheeki, otherwise known as Alex. Hey.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, full disclosure for listeners here, this is not the first time I've talked to Alex. Far from it. We played a game together a while back, not too long ago.
Yeah, we're kind of best friends.
Yeah, we're kind of best friends now.
Kind of the best.
The best of friends, along with Eldritch Sugar, who isn't here, but maybe in the future. I haven't asked her yet. Maybe she'll come on sometime. But we are a trio of very good adventurers. We played a one-shot D&D campaign together, which was pretty fun.
It was a pretty damn good one-shot.
Yeah, a lot of interesting characters. We can get into that a little later. But first, how are you? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Celebrated my birthday. Kind of upset that sleep somehow compounds, where the less sleep you get, the more sleep you need. But
Yeah.
the more sleep you get, the more sleep you need. Like, why can't we compound energy when we sleep?
Is that called sleep debt? I think that's what it's called.
I don't know. It's dumb.
It's pretty dumb.
Whoever designed sleep needs to rework it.
Yeah, we need to fire that guy.
We need a patch.
Right. All right. So, I had a couple questions for you so that we can get to know you a bit better. First of all, you've got a YouTube channel.
I do. I have it still, I hope. I'm going to check just to make sure.
It's pretty cool. And you started this channel about, 3 years ago?
Started uploading stuff here, but like anyone, I've had it since 2010, even before that probably. Just doing nothing on it though.
Right, yeah. Just you were a consumer at the time. Yeah. But 3 years ago you started putting out a bunch of gaming videos, all sorts of stuff like Oblivion videos, you playing, I think, what was it, randomized Wind Waker, like a corrupted Wind Waker game?
Yeah, I did a lot in my twilight hours. The first stuff came just because I was sleep deprived and it was 4 a.m. and I was bored.
As we've all been there. And
and
you recorded and was putting that stuff on there, but here's the really interesting thing. About a year and a half ago, you put out the recording of a Twitch stream with you and some of your friends playing in a D&D campaign called Spellbound.
Mm-hmm. It was not even streamed, I don't think. I just recorded it. The current one is being streamed, but the past one was purely just archived recording.
I see. You guys just wanted to have a reference for your friends and everything?
Yeah, because with how I started my YouTube channel, just whenever I started playing games with friends, I just started recording. And then afterward I was like, hey guys, can I edit this and show it to you later? And they were obviously cool with that, because who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, it's cool to have a record of that stuff, because then you can go back to the moments that were really interesting or really cool.
Yeah, I cherish my times with my friends and like to look back on them at times.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have recorded more sessions with my friends. I've done that with 3 sessions, and I thought that I was going to do something like the Adventure Zone, where you cut out all the rolling and the boring stuff and just release it like a podcast. But I didn't have the attention span to do that, because it's 3 to 4, sometimes 5 hours of gameplay that you have to edit.
Yeah, I actually edited most of the original Spellbound series down.
Really?
Yeah, it's definitely not raw footage. I think I cut out 24 hours of just useless footage.
You should have put that into a separate file. That way you could just have a file of people going, and rolling dice. And
it's literally that. It's combat where someone's sitting there taking a minute to think of what they're going to do, or if we just like taking breaks and stuff are usually cut out, but long silences that are just there for some reason.
Right. I mean, it's one of those necessary things because like people have to look over their spells or figure out where they're going to go in the map next. That's kind of a logistical situation. But what so you started posting that, and you said that was to sort of just keep it somewhere, like have a record so that you and your friends could get to it later, right?
Yeah, like sure, it was a cool idea that people would eventually watch it, but at the time we like it wasn't even in the scope of our vision that it would be as big as it is right now.
Right. So that leads me to the next question. I don't, some of my subscribers are probably also subscribed to you as well, but for those who aren't, you took the Spellbound game, the campaign, and you like made an animated summary series for it. Like and it just blew up. Can you tell like what led to that? Why did you do that?
I mean, like our DM is very special to us, as most DMs are to their players. And I wanted to give something back for his effort. And it's weird since like I was the one recording it and I drew most of the art for it and I helped him create his vision in some way, and he's very thankful for that in his own way, but I just wanted to. It was always kind of just on the docket to do.
So when you did it, did you plan on doing the whole series?
Yeah, I plan to do just to summarize the whole first season, I guess you could call it, but I didn't think it would take 5 parts to do.
Is that, for you, is that like a lot or not a lot?
I suppose, like, I drew it all and did 5-10 minute-ish parts in 5 months, basically, in 6 months, I think.
You did that pretty fast.
I got it out pretty quick.
The rate you were doing it would definitely make that a lot, for sure. But that's awesome, man. Like, that first video just blew up.
It was kind of whack, because, like, it initially wasn't doing that well. Well, it was doing, like, 10-folds better than any of my other stuff, because it was actually getting viewed, but... Right. Like, as soon as I uploaded the second part, the first part just started bumping. It was going crazy.
Right. It's kind of interesting when you have a video that's somewhat more popular than the other videos on your channel. Then if it's related to anything else or whatever, like people will go back and watch your other stuff, so it'll give the other ones a new boost in a way. Because like I went to the first Spellbound video, and that's got, I think, several hundred views now.
The very first like archive video, that the non-animated has a lot. Like we go back to it every now and again. We're like, holy crap, people like actually like we understood some people would watch the animated, but then we were also shocked to see people started watching through the archive D&D footage. Like the first part is like 6,000 views, and we're freaking out because like. That's just us playing D&D. Like, it's hard to make that overly entertaining, but we had fun.
You're playing with an audience at that point.
Yeah, and now it's super different because now we are streaming and we know we have fans, so it's like one's making a kill count for our current Strahd game, and the amount of fan art. Oh man, we're in over our heads.
That's great though. I mean, because like you're all involved in it now. They're like it's a community. People are all kind of invested in the adventure and doing their whatever they can, I guess, like fan art or kill count. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
What's next for your channel, if I may ask?
I have definitely like taken on the role of doing all the channel stuff myself for some reason. Like I edit all the streams into their parts. I make all the thumbnails and do most of the art that is there. So it's kind of hard to delegate time to do that and work on my next animated stuff, which I definitely want to get more working on and have in recent days. But I do want to kind of make my channel not just Spellbound stuff.
Yeah, so where were you thinking of branching out into?
Still definitely D&D stuff, but just my other various wonderful stories that I have in that field.
Okay, yeah. I see. A lot of stories to tell, and you got a medium, so why not tell them, right?
Yeah, and as we talked about before, like, I feel tabletop games are a lot more fun to tell for me and the people that do them, because life stories are kind of boring to us. Like, I'd rather be talking about me and my friends having fun than an event in my life, which there aren't many, because I'm an introvert who doesn't do a lot.
Yeah, I hear that, man. Same here. And like, yeah, he's referencing listeners. We had a conversation yesterday about very similar stuff, especially with like why D&D stories are so interesting compared to like life stories, and why we like you tell a D&D story, and it's like I went into the dungeon and I did this. It's never like my character. You tell it as if you were there. It feels very personal in that sense.
I mean, you're still living it, even if you're just playing it.
Right. It feels real. It feels like you were actually there. And then like it's way more, I don't know, personally I feel like you're correct on that. Like it's more interesting because it's an adventure. You know, it's not I went to school and my teacher was like really terrible to me, and it's like, I mean, that's interesting for a lot of people, but I'm not in school anymore.
We're not ragging on life stories here. We're just
right. I'm not in school anymore. I don't really care.
Yeah. Some of us didn't have an eventful life. I've seen snow once. I'm not. What do you want from me?
That's right. You're in Tasmania. It doesn't snow in Tasmania at all?
If you go on the mountains, it does, but everywhere, like, most you're going to get is frost on your windshields.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I figured you guys were, like, south enough that you were close enough to... I don't know. I'm not a big geography guy. I figured you were closer to the Antarctic Circle.
Yeah, we are very close to, like, the South Pole. Like, if you look at the map, like, we're pretty far down, which is surprising why it's still so hot.
I guess it must be, like, ocean currents or something.
Yeah.
Because that's why... Because, if you look at Britain should be way colder than it is. But because of the Atlantic current, it's bringing all that hot air over there, which keeps it more temperate. And, like, a lot of people in Britain would probably say, like, no, it's really cold over here. I'm like, no, you guys are, like, right under the Arctic Circle. Like, you guys should be tundra. Anyway, so that concludes the interview part. Tried to keep it a little shorter this time. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's talk roleplay.
My favorite topic.
Characters. I love making characters. You love making characters. Everybody loves making characters. But... what is like, tell me like what your favorite part of making a character is.
Oh, favorite part. I don't know, like, destroying them.
Destroying them?
Like, no matter what I do, if I start thinking up a backstory, it immediately becomes tragic, because tragedy is easy.
Oh, okay. Do you start with race and class and stuff first, and then do the backstory, or do you go the other way, backstory first?
I used to. I definitely wanted to play a dragon at some point, so you have to play Dragonborn. But nowadays, I kind of just come up with a concept and then just grab a random race that I am kind of into at the moment. Rarely will I think about, like, the racial bonuses and get out my big spreadsheet to find all the best abilities for the... I'm a very, like, anti-power gamer.
Okay, you like to give yourself sort of handicaps in a way?
Yeah, I definitely will take something that hinders my character to give them more character, rather than just like choosing the best wizard subclass to get the best +3 to my role in this area.
It's weird how that works. Where like, I don't know, I'm a bit of a power gamer in the sense that I like to optimize. But that's only because I don't want my character to die.
Yeah, I think it's a little different to, like, taking the best thing that obviously increases your stuff and actively searching and, like, making your cleric dip 4 levels into warlock for no reason other to get this invocation that you want. Like, if you can do that in character, it's so much more rewarding. That's also, like, I don't use a lot of homebrew because I like using what the books give me to achieve the things I want. If I want dragon wings, either I'm going to go out of my way in the campaign to get them, or put 14 levels into sorcerer to get them that way. Either way, I'm getting them.
I see you are also a man of culture as well. I don't really... I used to really like the Unearthed Arcana, but that was when it was just the player's handbook and there was like nothing, you know?
Yeah, now that there's a lot more officially released supplements and stuff.
A lot of that stuff got transferred over, so now I'm okay not even really looking at Unearthed Arcana, which maybe makes me a bit boring, but I find that what's interesting for me is like maybe I just crave number crunchy stuff, but like I like to multi-class because I want to see what can be accomplished when you don't just do one class.
Yeah, I definitely... Most of my characters will be multi-class just because I love variety. I can't just play a fighter, it's too much just clicking attack and attacking.
Right. Yeah, I've played a fighter before that went up to like 12th level, and by the end I was trying to get myself killed because I couldn't die. I had too many magic items, I had too many attacks, it was too powerful to be killed, and I was getting bored because there was not much to do. And then later on, when I played that same character again, I had him take a few levels of monk so that he could have more mobility options and do other stuff, so he wouldn't just be a fighter.
Yeah.
But the other thing about that, because you mentioned just now, like, multi-classing without, like, a story element isn't as satisfying, and I agree with that, for sure. But I also think it's kind of hard to, like what justifies a multi-class? Like, fighter's easy. Oh, you learned to fight.
Yeah.
Right? Like, anybody can learn to fight. But, like, what about if you wanted to take a spell wizard? Or, sorry, a level of wizard, my bad. I mean, you got to be taught that? Or did you find a book? Or, like, I know you got to work with your DM on that, in a way. But I feel like some classes are a little more common than others, it feels like, you know?
Yeah, I could see a fighter just getting levels in Barbarian just by being angry, but...
Right, you don't need to be taught to be a barbarian, you just are a barbarian.
Yeah. I don't know, even like just asking the more combat-able of your party to teach you a few moves in long rests, or mentioning that you're going to the library to find some books to read about Arcane. I'd much rather make my character do that than show up to the next session and suddenly have a spell book and a wizard's hat on and start throwing fireballs.
Fair. I guess it also depends on what kind of campaign you're in, because if you're in... a lot of my campaigns tend to be day-to-day with like almost no downtime, because it's always some urgent thing that we're not allowed to rest for because the world will end or will die if we do. So it's like you know, trying to multi-class in that situation is really hard, because you're leveling up disproportionately fast because it's a short amount of time, and how you justify a level, like even a dip in something else, is like, how did you do that when you've only had like 6 days between levels, you know?
Yeah. I think previous editions much more enforced you actually doing stuff and spending time to level up.
Right. Yeah, and when I played Pathfinder, I think I played a game where that was how you leveled up, where you didn't level up by beating a dungeon, but once you had enough experience points in your downtime, you spend that time training or whatever, and then you get your level up.
Yeah, in the new age of D&D, it seems like the prompt to level up is just ending a session or taking a long rest.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of just happens to you in an epiphany.
I mean, it's sort of whatever's convenient for the DM, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're running a session and you know that there's going to be... You've just gotten through, like, a dungeon. Done with a dungeon crawl, and before that there was some other thing that happened, and before that was another thing. And before that was the level up. You're like, well, we just did, like, 3 physically taxing things or roleplay taxing things. Maybe it's time to level them up so that we can do some more challenging things. I feel like that's pretty fair, but I know that, like, every DM's different. a lot of DMs like to withhold level ups to keep things mortal, like super, high stakes.
How dare you keep my level from me, DM? I've earned it.
What progression do you prefer if you had a choice?
I usually use Milestone just because I'm kind of lazy and can't be bothered calculating all the XP for the amount of zombies they blow up. But it's also mainly to enforce the fact that you don't have to kill stuff to level up.
Thank you.
Like, merely just dealing with the encounter.
I have a very strong take on that, which is exactly what you just said. Like,
yeah.
When I was, again, playing Pathfinder back in the day, it was all experience. So
Ooh.
I wanted to fight stuff because I wanted more power, and I knew the only way to get more power would be to fight things. And that's really metagaming. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like you could be playing a kind of cowardly character that would rather run from a fight.
Right, but then they never get stronger.
We gotta level up. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, guard captain, you gotta die. I gotta get my XP, bro.
Right.
How else am I gonna level up? You know the stakes.
Milestone, I don't know. I feel like Milestone's a bit better.
I feel like it's easier for the DM to keep tabs on the power of the party as well at that point. Because it's all on the DM if you level up. If you're a player and you're calculating the XP yourself, you're being sneaky and like, alright, we killed 10 zombies, 50 XP each. And then you all of a sudden, come up to the DM and you're like, hey, we're level 5 now. I'd be like, oh, hold up. No, you're not. What?
Right.
It's my choice, buddy.
We would always, when we did it, he would, the DM that would do that would just, at the end of each session, tell us how much we got that session. And then eventually we would get to that point. And then when we say, oh, we're leveling up, then he would know to ramp up the difficulty. It's not a terrible system, but I guess, another way you could do it is rewarding experience points for quests. You did the quest. Doesn't matter how you did it, you get experience points for that. But, in that case, then it would just be the same as milestones because you're, you would get a milestone level up after you did a whatever quest. So it's sort of, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of irrelevant. All right. What's your favorite character that you ever played?
That I've ever played?
Yeah, that's a hardball question.
Yeah, right now it has to be Julian from the Spellbound saga. Mainly because they're the most developed I've ever gotten a character. Even though they're 15. But
have you ever completed campaigns before that?
I've completed campaigns, maybe. I don't think I've ever been through any of the modules all the way through. There's a lot of stopping and starting them, but even if I finished campaigns, sometimes I didn't get the desired ending for my character, if that makes sense.
Do you have when you make a character, do you have a predetermined trajectory for them?
Not overly.
Okay.
Some characters start from just looking at a feature in a class and being and just rolling on that. I have a warlock right now that doesn't sleep just because I saw the invocation that means you don't have to sleep, and I was like, oh cool, I can make a kind of weird warlock that just sits there looking at the party while they sleep. That's fun.
I want that power.
And then yeah. It's just one of the tome invocations. It's cool.
Man, warlocks have some of the best invocations. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track.
They do.
I just wanted to say
I love them just for that.
Oh yeah.
People say warlocks don't have a lot of spells. That's just because you're spending invocations to make your Eldritch Blast better.
Right. They're weird magic. They're strange magic,
My dude has permanent magic vision. I have detect magic on all the time just because I took that invocation. You can have permanent mage armor if you choose that invocation. Those are 2 spells that you have on permanently.
But that, hearkening back to what you said earlier, is it any wonder why people take a level in Warlock? It's one of the most frequently dipped classes.
Oh yeah, Warlock it's got a lot of fun.
But I was asking so about Julian. That's what I was trying to get back to. Julian. Julian, you played how many sessions if you remember, did you play of Spellbound?
Surprisingly, like, I think it was around 23, 22.
And it was weekly?
Yeah, hopefully. Like, sometimes we took breaks,
Nice.
but...
What level did you get them to before it ended?
We got to 6, I think, before it officially... where we beat the first season, but once we do start up the next one, it'll be kind of like Spellbound Shippuden, so there'll be a small time skip.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So we're not done with their stories yet, which is also one of my favourite parts about playing him, because there's a lot to consider about his future.
Right. So, is there like an overarching thing with that? Like, so the first thing was like wizard school and summoning demons and stuff, but like, is there like well, maybe you don't know this. Is there like a villain that's sort of pulling the strings for each adventure? So like one overarching villain.
I know for the first one, there was the villain, which was like this corrupt archfey who consumed his king to get unlimited power, but we stopped him, but I think it all kind of revolves around that still. Like, the next season will still be kind of related to that event, but I'm not sure how.
To be continued.
Like, yeah, our campaign has a lot of time manipulation and stuff, so we can... Any number of infinite things could happen at this point.
Yeah, a little too early to tell, I guess.
Yeah, it's... like, you almost don't want to keep guessing what's going to happen, because if you guess 1,000 times, chances are one of them's going to be correct, and then you kind of just ruined it for yourself at that point.
That's very true. I kind of have that approach with like, or the opposite, like you said, I don't guess ahead for like media that I consume, because
yeah,
I like to be surprised. I don't know. Sometimes you can see it coming, like the writing's on the wall, like it's pretty...
yeah.
Pretty obvious what's going to happen, but I don't like to try and like, outfox the writing of a show.
Yeah.
I like the show to surprise me, and then, a lot of times I'll like be watching something with somebody and then they'll like predict something and I'm like, don't you want to just not know?
Yeah, like, my friends will come up and tell me about some event in an anime that happened, and you're like, you didn't see that coming? It's kind of obvious that was going to happen, man.
Right. Yeah, and with campaigns especially, because it's like your buddy writing everything, so you kind of don't want to like...
Yeah.
Sort of, in a way, I don't know if it's undermining them. It's not really undermining them, but it's... I guess if they have a twist, and they're kind of proud of the twist...
Yeah, no DM likes their plot to be revealed before they reveal it.
There's a pro tip for everybody. Don't do that. DM will be sad.
Don't guess what's going to happen in front of your DM, because sometimes DMs are pretty hard at keeping secrets as well.
Although it's okay to joke. I feel like that's a bit different. If you're just like... Because, yeah. I mean, you're having fun. It's a game. You meet this halfling person, and they offer to like guide you to the town or whatever, and you're like, this person's like a serial killer, I bet. That's a joke. And then
yeah.
The DM looks at you with this angry look on their face, like, what the fuck? How did you know? Did you look at my notes?
That legit happened in Spellbound.
Really?
Yeah, in one of the first sessions when we first met the headmaster. I think it was Gale.
Oh, yeah.
Gale said, I bet it's a cat or something. And we all kind of just laughed. And the DM was like, what the fuck? What the hell, Jeff? He didn't say it, but he was thinking it.
Yeah, that's great.
It was hilarious. We love it. It's one of the many facts that were just pre-guessed. Out of the blue as well.
Although I don't really get to play in person too much anymore, because a lot of my friends don't live around here anymore.
In-person sessions and online sessions are very, very different.
For sure. And I was going to say, I do still like online, though, because I don't get to see my DM's face, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, the convenience of it, and just in general, hanging out online is a lot easier.
Right.
When you're done talking to people, you can just leave.
You don't have to go home. You're home.
Yeah, you don't have to sit there and wait for your mum to pick you up. Just kind of sit there on your phone while you wait, because, you know, the day's over.
Yeah.
Or I guess drive yourself home now, because we're adults.
Yeah, I forget that sometimes.
Yeah, right.
By the way, I didn't say happy birthday on the podcast, but happy birthday. How old are you, by the way?
Oh, thank you. I am now 23 years of age.
You hear that, everyone?
Yeah, I'm baby. Like, I meet all these people, and everyone's so much older than me, but then, like, a lot of people in my server are younger than me, and I'm one of the oldest in my server. So it's kind of weird going from, like, one group where you're the youngest and one group where you're the oldest.
Yeah, and
It's kind of shell-shocking.
It's almost like, role-playing games are, I don't know, meant for all ages. So, like, making cartoons about them shouldn't be penalized by COPPA. Huh.
Yeah, we gotta add those things at the start of our videos, don't we?
Yeah.
I gotta make one for my new.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's gonna do anything. I just, you kind of have to do that just to be safe.
I've ticked the no options on my channel. That should be enough.
It should be, but, whatever. These entities just want to, like, make examples of people, and they can, and they probably will. And so I don't want to be that example, please. I work really hard.
It's kind of sad to see a lot of these, like, channels and others that are getting affected by all this YouTube stuff, because they made it their job very early on. So now, like, just one by one, all these channels are kind of stopping their content just because it's not viable anymore.
Right.
It's really sad.
I mean, the internet is constantly changing. It's been changing forever,
Oh, yeah.
But I guess I felt that the golden age of YouTube would be longer than it was,
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I grew up watching a lot of other animators, like Eageraptor, Ross, Kerbifer, some of the other ones. I'm bad at remembering people's names, but all the people in Newgrounds, like, I watched them, and now I feel like, because they've grown up and learnt more, they took the bar of what's good quality up with them. So on YouTube, all these fantastic animators and artists are around, but when you're young and starting up and you don't have all the kind of stuff they have from being big now, it, like, hinders you a lot.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about there, because, like...
Yeah, it's a weird thing to explain.
If you were to release your Spellbound animatics on Newgrounds in 2004...
Yeah, in the heyday of when it was all happening, like...
That would have been, like, super duper popular, I think.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying, like...
Yeah.
Being the age I am now, when they were 23 and I was, like, 12...
You were a babu.
Yeah, sure, the stuff I was making then was baby stuff, but if I was the same age as them now, releasing the stuff I do now, at the age they were... No, I've lost the plot.
Well, you're just saying that, like, life could have been very different. I mean,
yeah,
but it's a lot of different things could be, like, if I had done this, or if I had been born at this time, and a lot of ifs, and we kind of just have to deal with the hand that we're dealt,
Yeah, it's kind of useless wasting time thinking about stuff that could have been, rather than doing what is.
Right. And it's not like YouTube is stopping you from making content,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, knock on wood, all right? Because I don't know about this COPPA thing.
Yeah, they could, like, tomorrow we could all be shut down.
But, so. What you're doing is not copyright. It's completely original stuff. It's animation, which is extremely hard to produce. So, like, I think that...
Oh, that is also a thing, man.
Yeah.
it is criminal how, like, underappreciated, and I guess not underappreciated, like, animators for big projects don't get enough of the spotlight that they really should.
Oh, yeah.
like, and all these, like, Netflix animations and all these, like, animators for games doing all the rigging and stuff. Like, all we see is produced by Hideo Kojima.
Right.
And you rarely get to see, like, these fantastic animators that are made to work to their bones to produce this stuff.
Japan has a particularly unhealthy animation culture because of the guy, I forgot who made Astro Boy, but that guy was just really passionate about Astro Boy, so he was willing to work when the producers asked him what he wants to be paid. He like lowballed them because he just wanted to guarantee that it got on the air or whatever. But because he did that, it set the tone forever after. So now, like, people who work in animation can work, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and they're not really getting paid that much more than anyone else doing much easier jobs. It's like, oh, well, you're working in animation, so you should feel honored. You should feel happy for that and not ask for more money. It's a kind of a toxic thing. And then even in America, like, there's this storyboard artist. She goes by the handle Honey Absinthe, I think. And she released very recently, this is like a very recent thing, she released a video about why she left Disney. And she's just going on her own. She's just starting her own business. And I remember I was like watching this, and she also did a podcast with her boyfriend, and they were like talking about, the things that led up to that. And I was like kind of cheering her on, like, good for you, because a lot of people idolize Disney. They idolize DreamWorks. They idolize these big animation companies because their childhoods, were made so much better because of the things these companies did. So when they finally get to the point where they can get into these companies, they get like 20 rejections or whatever, and they finally get their foot in the door, it's so easy to like manipulate that person because, you should be lucky. You should be honored that you're working in anime, same deal. Although I think the pay is a little bit maybe better in America, and there's like unions. It's still not where it should be. And it's definitely like you don't have creative control. Like her Honey and Absinthe, what she wanted to do was like she wanted to be a showrunner. So she went into this thinking like I'll start out as a revisionist, and then I'll be a storyboard artist, and then eventually I'll pitch a show and get that on the air. But she learned that like showrunners pitch the show and then they lose a degree of control over their product. It's always, even directors too. It's always the executive producers that, are the ones that really call the shots. If they want something changed, it gets changed or it doesn't air. And so like, it's all about compromise. It's never just like your vision. It's, whatever is like okayed by the studio. That's what gets through. And that's a very stifling environment as well, if you're trying to like make your own stuff,
Yeah, I suppose that's one good thing about working for yourself. Like you are the executive, the boy.
Yeah, you're the boy.
You're the boy,
right?
You get to make the decisions, and sure, there are some things you might change, but that's still you, and you don't have like shareholders and people who have paid money to have stock in your stuff to tell you not to put that in.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you can have financial support from viewers. Those are consumers, though. That's not the same. Yeah. They're not trying to make money off of what you're doing and investing in you. They're, like maybe like my patrons, I feel those might be the only people I'm really accountable to because they're the only ones putting money into it. Like if for whatever reason I just quit tomorrow, the only guilt I'd really feel, besides the fact that I'm quitting something I really love, is I would feel guilty about the two people that pledged to me. And I wouldn't want, they're expecting, me to finish this thing. And like, I don't, obviously if something happens, I don't have to, but like, I really want to, and I want to do that for them. And so like, it's, but that's so much, I mean, that's like a way healthier relationship than like, this guy signs my paychecks, he'll fire me if I don't.
It's a way better motivator than like, do it or don't get paid.
Right. I mean, I'm not even really making money on any of this right now anyway. I just really want to make it. Like,
neither.
Yeah. I just want to make cartoons. Like, Is that so much to ask?
I've been kind of like, I either was raised or raised myself to think that there isn't much value in my art other than the, like, emotional value and happiness it gives the people that I provide it for.
Yeah, that's...
Which is, I guess it's wholesome maybe, but I don't get fat stacks, so...
It's kind of sad, because that is the consensus, I think, in, like, almost every society, is art is not going to make you money.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we see people who do make money, and so we know it's possible, but it's like, it's
definitely way more possible today than it was.
Right. I think
a few years ago.
I think it just kind of depends on what it is, right? So
yeah.
Let's look at, for example, actors. So that's a kind of art. It's performance art, right? You are acting as somebody else for the entertainment of an audience. You can do it on the stage, you can do it in movies, you can do it in all these different mediums, but the general idea is the same. Now, in order to be a famous actor, you have to be in a small group of people that everyone knows a lot about. It's really hard to be famous. Like, let me rephrase that. Everybody has the potential to be famous, but not everyone will be, because there's just too many actors out there. Like, you'll never know every actor's name. And if someone tells you, I'm an actor and I would like to be famous one day, it's like, well, that's great, but you have a lot of competition. It is highly competitive, and you never know what's going to really click with people, like who's going to really be iconic, you know? I mean, there's like a ton of people, like Sylvester Stallone, who, you know, he's not a bad-looking dude, but he's just kind of a guy, you know, and he's got that sort of slow-talking voice, and like Hollywood execs in the 70s were like, yeah, no, we don't want to fund this movie about a boxer. We don't really think that's going to sell. That's kind of stupid. Also, we don't know who you are. And Sylvester Stallone was like living out of his car, and all he had to sell his dog.
Yeah, that always gets me.
Yeah.
He sold his dog to get this.
And finally, when it got through, the first thing he did when he got his first paycheck after that movie was buy his dog back. And I'm like, that's like, you know, a lot of people admire Sylvester Stallone for that, and I do too, but it's also kind of a shame, like, that's the way you got to do it. Like, you have to risk everything.
Of ambition you need.
Think about all the other people that did the same thing but didn't get their dogs back.
Yeah, it's kind of sad how willing the world is to just kick stuff to the side, and like, there are a lot of dreams and aspirations out there that were never met, and that is depressing.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I guess it all depends on the person. Like, I've actually been having a conversation with someone that I work with about this, because, like, I work at a place where it's just like a minimum wage job is one of my jobs, but, like, a lot of the employees do artistic stuff. So, like, one of them's a rapper. One of them is a video producer, has his own production company. Actually, two of them are rappers, believe it or not. And so, like, we talk about our art all the time because we're artists. Yeah. But there's another person that works with us, and that person is just content to work regular work. And they're like, they almost feel like, you know, we look down on the minimum wage work because we're artists. Yeah. It's like, that's not really, you know, that's not my attitude. I do what I got to do to pay the bills, but I don't want to be doing minimum wage work the rest of my life, you know, and me not being super enthused about the work I'm doing isn't like a dig at that person. Oh, you enjoy your work? Oh, you know, like, I'm not being a shithead to them, you know. I like what I do, and so do, you know, these other guys that do what they do. That's all.
Hell, I envy that person, if anything. If I could do a job like that and not do my own head in, then, oh boy.
Right. I mean, but that's the thing. That's why parents are so, like, you know, they get on our asses all the time. Because, like, they know, like, a secure job would be doctor.
Yeah.
Or medical, you know, anything in the medical field, because there's always demand for that. Is there always demand for a cartoonist? Nah, not really. I mean, yes, there's an industry.
Yeah.
But, again, super competitive. You got to be like the best of the best to get in your foot in the door. And even when you get in, it's not going to be a dream job for everybody, because Like I said, just look at Honey and Absinthe. They didn't feel it was a dream job for them.
Yeah.
You know, they learned a lot. They gained a lot of skills. They acknowledged that, and they said it was definitely worth the effort they put in. But they know that they don't want to do that forever, and that's totally their call. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like in order to do the things that we really love, we also have to, for whatever reason, risk ourselves, because we don't know if other people are going to love it as much as we do.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of, like, passion projects out there that mean a lot to the person making them, but to the outside, it's just another thing.
Right. I mean, I use the example of actors and, like, being famous, but, like, animators don't normally get famous. Like, that's not really what happens with an animator. It's like their work becomes consumed by a big audience. That's more what I think animators want.
Yeah.
Right? Or any kind of artist, really. I don't think artists are they're not seeking fame and not even fortune, really. They want the art that they make to be appreciated. And I don't know if that's how you feel. I feel that way. I don't want to scream into the void.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could call what we are doing, like, our passion projects. Like the Spellbound stuff was maybe important to the 5-6 people that were there, but it's still, like, entertainment, we feel. So, well, I made the Spellbound stuff mainly for the people that were in it, but it was, like, just also to completely share it and tell the story of it to others. And I feel like telling these stories and story animations, it's a lot easier to have individuality in that stuff compared to maybe the more mainstream art out there.
Right.
Where you're just posting the pictures and it's devoid of the creator.
Yeah, I mean, it was not, I guess I wouldn't say it's completely devoid, but, like, let's say you're an artist and you're doing commissions, and, like, some guy's like, I want a big booty lady with big boobs and all this stuff, and you're like, all right, like, you know you're gonna make money off of that, but you're not really putting your heart into it. Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you like that stuff, but it's just like, a lot of times people will take jobs or commissions or whatever, working freelance, that they don't really like. Their heart's not super in it, but they know that they have the skills to, in this case, pay the bills.
Yeah.
And I think that what YouTube has enabled people like us to do is, like, I don't need to pitch anything to YouTube. I don't have to be like, hey, I'm making a thing. Can it go on your website? They just let you do it. You just put it up, and then maybe people find it, you know? And, like, that's what happened with Spellbound. Like, some people found it, and it just, like, everyone was watching it. And, you know, I don't know about you, but, like, that's a huge motivator. If that, you know, for me, like, I think my second video is my most viewed one, and it's almost at like 4,000 views or something.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's insane. And I know that's like tiny numbers compared to a lot of other people, but I don't care, man. For me, that's an insane number. 4,000 times something I made was viewed.
Yeah.
And, like, at least 1,000 was me, but you know what? We're not going to count that.
Oh, yeah, the amount of times I refreshed that to read comments, oh boy.
I'm just constantly hitting refresh, and I'm tanking the analytics. Like, oh, your engagement rate is really bad. I don't know, man. I'm just super, like, stoked, to borrow 1990s terminology, to be able to just, you know, make stuff.
Yeah.
And like as a kid, did you ever think that you would be able to make, like, an animated or animatic series and put it online and have tons of people love it?
I don't know, like most young kids in the early 2000s, a lot of our dreams were to become, like, popular YouTube nerds. Like, I feel like that was a pretty common thing for my circle of age. Like, whenever asked about what you want to do with life, I always knew that I wanted to entertain people and just make the others that have to live in this world with me happier in some way. Just so it's more bearable, or whatever's happening. But, like, telling that to teachers and parents, it's like, well, they're just gonna say, go get a normal job and get money. So I would always be working for this kind of thing, I suppose.
Right. Kudos, man.
And I've always been arty, so I'm glad that what got popular with what I did was something to do with my art, so then I don't feel like I wasted a lot of time drawing. But to get this big, this quickly, it's completely blown me out of the water, and continues. Like I put my socks on, it blows my socks off. I put them back on, and it re-blows my socks off.
Yeah, man.
It's phenomenal. Like, my realization of how big this has gotten hasn't caught up with how big it kind of is.
And it's still growing.
Yeah.
You know, this is the start, and it's just gonna snowball the more you put out there. It's one of those things where it gets to become sort of exponential after a while if you're I mean, consistency is sort of how the algorithm does all that stuff. But I'm I'm very happy for you, man. I'm really glad that you put in all that work and it paid off for you. That's really great, and I can't wait for you to do your next video.
Yeah, it's slow going, but man, like, I can produce these things. I'm gonna kick this dog in the goddamn.
It's all right,
tail,
no
man.
worries.
It has been going on this whole. I hope it.
Hey, I'm recording a podcast over here.
I know. I live on the stupidest area. Like, I moved my room in the house I'm in right now just because it's away from the road. Because, oh my god, the amount of traffic that just was always going past. The amount of times I have to re-record lines for my videos just because some random sound is going off. If I ever move, I'm going like into the middle of the country somewhere where no one can find me.
The one place in the middle of the country that has good Wi-Fi.
Well, yeah. There's just too much sound, and the train that always comes by. Jesus. Somebody... I need to soundproof this entire room someday.
Yeah, actually totally doable. Like I've seen... I watched a video of a guy before making this podcast. He was just like telling how you can have the best setup. And he basically covered his whole room with like soundproof foam. And he's got like a set of drums in there. He's like, yeah, I can play the drums and no one complains. And I'm like, that's really cool. Maybe they're intimidated. I don't know. Maybe they're just non-confrontational. But yeah, I mean, he invested a lot of money in that, though. I'm not saying anyone should.
I imagine the room would just get like 25 degrees hotter if I ever did that.
Right. And also just like so quiet you could like hear your heartbeat, you know?
Oh God forbid.
All right, so we're almost reaching the end here, but we kind of veered off of role playing for a bit, which is
what did we even? Yeah,
that's totally fine.
We'll go extra for like 20 minutes to go into actual topics that pertain to what we do.
I like talking with you. I just kind of wanted to let the conversation go where it will. But I also wanted to ask, are you more of a mechanics guy or a role play guy? I feel like you're a role play person.
100% roleplay.
Yeah. Like, what can you share with us, I guess, the most, aside from Spellbound, because everybody should just watch Spellbound, all right? But
yeah, go like and subscribe, really helps us out.
Outside of Spellbound, what was one of the most, like, gratifying or, like, emotional roleplay moments that you'd be willing to share?
When I throw this dog.
I roleplay throwing the dog into the streets.
Yeah, I'd never throw the dog. I love animals, okay? Look, I have too many. That's why there's so many. In my old Spellbound stuff, you can always hear the birds in the background, and it's terrible audio, so forgive me. I don't know, there's a lot of times, especially with online, where you play a lot of just one-off games, and you're never sure where they're gonna go, so you're never sure how much emotion you're meant to put into a character, because you're not sure if they're going to be there next week. I was in one game where I totally planned to make an animated thing about it, but there was a point where I had to make a choice in it that would, like, basically just completely kill off my character, but 100% just fix the one thing in that character's life that his one biggest regret. And it would, like, complete his character arc completely. And we'd be playing for 3 years at this point, and we were, like, level 10 or something. So, like, having to make that choice to end that character in some way, just for some like dumb story plot I wrote in a year ago. It was a pretty immediate decision to make, but it made for pretty damn good roleplay.
That's great, and you should still make a video about it.
I 100% will, but like,
Yeah.
we were all like in this area where we could all make a wish, and like, obviously wishes never come true fully, but you know, for the most part this one did. But like, everyone was about to teleport away, and like at the very last minute my character was like, oh shit, like I could fix everything right now, but at a big cost. So like, as they're all holding hands in a circle about to teleport away, he just looks to the Dragonborn next to him, who's been like his best friend for this whole adventure. He's like, you know what, man, see ya. And he just lets go before they all teleport, so he's the only one left there.
Oh shit.
It was pretty fucking rad. My hair was standing up the entire time.
I'm getting goosebumps. That's like, oof.
It was. What happens after was just as bad as well.
Well, if that didn't hook people to want to go check out your channel, then I don't know what will, man. You guys need to check out Captain Cheeki if you haven't already. He's on YouTube. He's also got a Twitch channel. I think is that just Alex Cheeki?
I think my Twitter's Alex Cheeki. I think everywhere else is Captain Cheeki.
Yeah, Captain Cheeki. Check him out. He posts their live streams on YouTube along with his animateds, and you can also just watch him live. He's a great guy, and a good friend.
Yeah, thank you. And like, seriously, thank you for having me on this. Like, I know I'm the second guest, but hot damn.
Hey, thanks for agreeing.
I still feel like I have 20 subscribers. Like, you have no idea how small I feel compared to everyone else around me, even though I have the big sub.
The big number next to my name.
Like, I am in awe that any of these people even talk to me, or even like look up to me in some way because I have big number. It freaks me out.
It's a little freaky. I mean,
I'm terrified.
But you know what? It's well deserved, and you're like, as you're seizing on your success, which I think is really good. You saw, like, I wanted to make this thing. You made the decision before anything happened, and then you got lucky, and you're like, well, I guess I'm gonna roll with this. Like, you guys can actually see when you go to his channel, you could see he was doing a lot of video game stuff up to that point, which I know you still play video games. You haven't like quit video games or anything, but
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Like, I used to play a lot with this friend group, but they all got jobs, because, you know, they're humans. And a lot of their kits weren't even that great. They were playing on laptops, so, like, now we barely play games together. So, I probably would still be uploading that stuff if I was recording it. But having started this animatic stuff, like, I can no longer just jump on Minecraft and start mining. Because once I get, like, 5 minutes into mining, I just kind of sit back and I'm like, wow, I should really be working on my cartoons.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the same, dude. I'm the same way.
It's so weird.
So podcast's not over. Podcast's not over. Never mind.
Yeah, revive it. We're still here.
Yeah, but that's such a good, like, oh god. So I don't know if people understand that. Like, if you were to tell teenage me that I would have the work ethic to like make full videos, like the ones that I make and put them online, I would have laughed at you. I would have been like, yeah, right. Cause,
yeah, I'm gonna go play Pokemon, nerd.
Right, my like teenage self just wanted instant gratification. He just wanted to play video games. I say in my first video, but I even snubbed role playing. I'm like, I play Magic the Gathering. Like I was a little shit. And then like
I never thought I'd be playing D&D in my life.
I was like, listen, as a kid, I'm a nerd, but I'm not that big of a nerd. Like,
yeah, it wasn't even on my radar as a thing. But hot damn if it ain't like the only thing I do now.
Right. I would not have predicted that. Like, I mean, I still enjoy video games. I just, like, I'm waiting for Animal Crossing to come out, because that's something that's easy. It's a pickup. It's a pick up and go type of thing, and you don't have to. It's like there's no missions or anything. You just do what you like. When you're ready to stop, you stop, and then I can go back to work. And that's like a perfect break game. Like if I'm animating or working on something,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know what? I've been doing this for like 2 straight hours. I need a little break. I'm going to walk around a bit, and I'm going to sit down, play a little Animal Crossing, get my mind off the work for a bit, and then get back to it. I did that with Spyro, the new Reignited trilogy. I like played through all those games, and that was during the time I got my second video out in like 3 months. My second Peace Guild video. Like, I was somehow able to play all of the 3 games and 100% them, and at the same time get that video out in 3 months.
Oh, damn.
And I think it was therapeutic. It was like, yeah, man, Animal Crossing. Can't wait.
Hell yeah.
But I was going to say, before I learned that you don't play games anymore, which is really sad.
No, I still definitely do. It's just, I'm a very social gamer. Like, I can rarely play a game by myself for too long without just getting bored.
Ooh, okay.
Which kind of sucks, but that's why my channel quickly went to me and my friends playing games rather than me just playing Oblivion at 4 a.m. because I'm bored.
Fair enough. Yeah, you guys will notice, though, once Spellbound Animatic came out, that it just became about role-playing. And I think, but you know what? I think that's a good thing, because, like, that's a focus. That's like, now people have something that they can, like, you could make another channel and just do the video game stuff. A lot of people do that kind of thing. Like, they'll do, like, a Let's Play channel on the side or something. But I think having a focus, like, you don't even need to necessarily, it has to be animatics or streams, just as long as it's in the realm of, like, tabletop RPGs or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. This is now, I think, the time that will end it.
Heck. Let's try not to get onto any other topics.
Right. Everybody, check him out on YouTube and on Twitter, although I know you don't use Twitter very often, and on Twitch.
I'm trying.
Captain Cheeki, thanks for coming on the show. I'm so glad to have you on, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm still stoked to be talking to anyone who does stuff similar to me. If you ever change this podcast in any way to have more than one person on at a time, like, hit me up any day for anything, because...
You can send me your resume.
I don't have one.